Hello aspirants, looking at current affairs for 23rd March, the news items picked up from the Hindu newspaper are these 15. We'll look at them in detail. The first one, UIDAI chief defends safety of Aadhaar data before Supreme Court. So we have been saying that the Aadhaar case has been heard before the Supreme Court, and yes, last time when we discussed it, it was said that the UIDAI chief, the CEO of UIDAI, be allowed to give a PowerPoint presentation to the Supreme Court on Aadhaar and its safety. So here you can see the CEO of UIDAI, Unique Identification Authority of India, which is the apex body for Aadhaar, Mr. Ajay Bhushan Pandey. He gave a PowerPoint presentation in the courtroom to the 5-judge constitutional bench, which is hearing the case. The bench is headed by CJI, Chief Justice of India, Mr. Justice Deepak Mishra. So here he had made a claim that it would take more than the age of the universe for the fastest computer on earth or any supercomputer to break one key of Aadhaar encryption. So this is the claim being made. He says that Aadhaar data is protected by a 2048-bit encryption, and once biometrics comes to UIDAI, it will never go away. So this is the claim being made here. The question by the judiciary to Mr. Pandey, the CEO of UIDAI, was that if Aadhaar is so infallible, then why UIDAI had blacklisted 49,000 registered operators? On this, Mr. Pandey responded that these operators were deregistered for corruption, carelessness and harassment of the public. So they were taking money from the people as such for getting Aadhaar registered. So these were the reasons why these operators were blacklisted. So this is the statement being given in the court. Also, he says that biometric changes can be updated through a process called Aadhaar update. On this also, the judiciary said that those who are not aware of it will not be able to take advantage of this, because in Aadhaar also biometrics, we have seen many cases coming forth, and this argument being made that biometrics gets failed, biometric matching, and because of this then services are denied to the beneficiaries. So to ensure this does not take place, it is the CEO says that there is an Aadhaar update provision in place, and also when the judge asked that does UIDAI have any statistics on the number of Aadhaar authentication failures, he said that there is a provision that if Aadhaar authentication through biometrics fails, and there are alternatives to biometric authentication under the Aadhaar authentication regulations of 2016. So demographics can be used, OTP, one-time password can be used, is the statement given. So these are the details regarding the PowerPoint presentation too. You can see some of the points which were made in this presentation, that making an Aadhaar costs less than $1. Then total savings from Aadhaar is estimated to be 57,029 crores. Aadhaar, he says, covers 1 billion citizens of India. It is the first ever Aadhaar card was stated. It was given in September 2010. The 12-digit Aadhaar number is also said to be random. So there is no state code associated with it or any other intelligence associated. So it cannot be helped to profile. The Aadhaar number does not help in the profiling of the holder. That who is the holder, which state is he from, cannot be known from the Aadhaar number. And the Aadhaar number is blocked on the death of the holder. And the biometrics, it is said, biometrics of Aadhaar applicants are matched for uniqueness against 120 crore Aadhaar specifics in the database. So the depository, the central database, it matches this biometrics, and then authentication takes place. Then another news regarding the same issue is Face ID from July 1 for Aadhaar authentication. So this is in continuation of the same UIDAI's statements in the Supreme Court. So UIDAI informed in the Supreme Court that UIDAI will introduce Face ID on 1st July 2018. So Aadhaar holders can authenticate the identity to access services, benefits and subsidies through Face ID. So this will help people without biometrics, it is said, or those with poor biometrics, because it is said workers, they are generally, their fingerprints fade and then it becomes difficult for them. So laborers as such, so it becomes difficult for them to get biometrics authentication. So this then results in they being excluded from these benefits, these services. So that is why he said that Face ID would be introduced. Also, the court has repeatedly been referring to how biometric authentication failures deprive citizens of their rightful entitlement, like pensions, provident fund, etc. So he says that there's even for physically disabled and mentally challenged also, it has biometrics is a difficulty. So the UIDAI CEO said that there can be complete exemption from biometric authentication for persons with leprosy and other such diseases. So if any such reason is there, then biometrics can be exempted for them. So this is there. And he also said, as we discussed earlier, there are various modes of authentication, biometrics being one of them. So first one he says is demographic details, means the Aadhaar holder's name, gender, date of birth. So that is demographic detail. Second is OTP, one-time password. So there are other modes also. So one-time password authentication takes place, means there's a PIN which is sent to the registered mobile number and or email address of the Aadhaar number holder, and using this PIN authentication can be done. So OTP provision is also there. Also multi-factor authentication is generally done, means biometric, Aadhaar, OTP and demographic. Any two or more combinations are used. And for eKYC, electronic KYC authentication, it should be carried out using OTP and or biometric authentication. So this is there. Also, as we saw, Aadhaar update can take place. So even for children, Aadhaar update as such takes place 3 times. One when he is an infant, the Aadhaar registration is done, the details are given. Then at the age of 5, an update can take place, and even at the age of 15, another final update. So this is the detail regarding that too, about how Face ID would also be introduced for authentication now. Then next is FB apologizes for breach of trust. So Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg, he has apologized for a major breach of trust with its users. So this statement has come forth because of the same issue. Cambridge Analytica, the data mining firm, which is alleged to have ties in the 2016 Donald Trump campaign, and it was involved in getting the elections in favor of the candidate who has hired them for the services. So this actually used an app, and this app used Facebook data of users and even the friends of the users who had used the app. So Facebook should have been much more careful. So that's why he says that it would make difficult for apps to use Facebook data. So it is the responsibility of Facebook, he has admitted, Mark Zuckerberg, that they should take care that the users who submit their data profile to the Facebook should not be, there should not be such mistakes because of which they are parting with their privacy. So he has promised it will be far harder for apps to harvest user information in the future, and he will be reviewing thousands of apps in an intensive process to ensure that this does not take place again. So this is the assurance given by him. He says we should not have trusted Cambridge Analytica's certification, and we are not going to make that mistake again. So this was a breach of trust between Kogan, who was the developer of the app, which was used through Facebook, and Cambridge Analytica had taken data from Kogan. So it was also a breach of trust between Facebook and the people who share their data with us and expect us to protect it. So this is the statement of Facebook CEO. Then next is One App, 1,000 Services, M-Kerala. So this is regarding an app which has been launched by Kerala government, M-Kerala. So this is about M-governance. So there is e-governance, electronic governance, and M-governance, which means mobile governance. So through mobile, you can access government services. So there's already a website of the government of Kerala, that is www.kerala.gov.in, and services are accessible through this website, but now they have made it much more user friendly by launching an app. So this is one single app which will provide hundreds of citizen oriented public services of various departments. So initially it is said to be offering 100 citizen oriented public services, which will eventually expand to around 1,000 services across 80 departments. So this is the app which has been launched. Kerala had become the first state to declare that internet is a basic human right in 2017, and now it is the first one to launch such an app, an all-inclusive app. So single window access to government services. So this is the thing. Also, Kerala has announced K5, that is Kerala Wi-Fi. So this has been launched, which will be accessible to at 1,000 public spaces across the state. So this will be available at public spaces like hospitals, bus stops, parks, libraries, government offices, etc. So this Wi-Fi hotspots which would be created as such will be expanded further every year too, and will give unlimited access to government services. But it is said that it will put a cap on access to social networking sites. So this has resulted in criticism on this too, because it violates the principle of net neutrality. So this is one issue too. Then next is Assam to kick off NRC verification from April 2. So this is regarding National Register of Citizens. So this National Register of Citizens of 1951 has to be updated, and the Supreme Court is monitoring this exercise of updating this National Register of Citizens for Assam. So the verification of citizenship documents of 29 lakh married women who are mostly migrant Muslims will take place now from April. So actually the first update of NRC was already notified as such by the end of the year 2017, by on 31st December 2017, because that was a deadline given by the Supreme Court for publishing the update. So the update continues as such, because Supreme Court had ruled that what Guwahati High Court had actually ruled, that panchayat certificates have no statutory sanctity, because to update this National Register of Citizens means to give proof of citizenship, the panchayat certificates which are provided. So whether this can be allowed or not was a question. So in the Guwahati High Court, it was declared that panchayat certificates are not having any statutory sanctity. They cannot be used as proof. But Supreme Court has set aside this verdict in December 2017 and said that they could be used to claim inclusion in the NRC, National Register of Citizens. But there is a three-step process which the Supreme Court said, that first you have to check authenticity of this document, then look at the evidence based on which each of this certificate has been issued originally, and then give an opportunity for the women here to place their case before the authorities. So that is why now this process of updating the citizenship NRC register for these married women here would take place from April. So officials said that this actually requires verification of link documents. So link documents as such is a documentary evidence that NRC authorities want to prove that an applicant is a resident of Assam. So this is through his parentage, lineage. So if his parents or grandparents before March 24, 1971, which is the cutoff date for deportation of foreigners from Assam, according to the Assam Accord of 1985. So if they were residing in Assam, then their descendants are also considered to be citizens and residents of Assam. So this link document is to be verified as such. So this is there. So here you can see the details of NRC are provided. So National Register of Citizens, this is unique to Assam. National Register of Citizens, it has details of all citizens in the state. So this was first prepared by the Union Home Ministry in 1951, and now it has to be updated. So present NRC update which is taking place, it wants to screen illegal migrants. So during the formation of Bangladesh, the liberation war of Bangladesh, and the war after, in which it was actually an India-Pakistan war of 1971 too, which resulted in Bangladesh being formed as an independent country. We have discussed that earlier too, a few days back. So here the illegal migrants from Bangladesh came into India, and they entered into the state of Assam as such too. So if any illegal migrant has entered the state after March 1971, so they will be screened and will be considered as foreigners as such and deported. So that's the idea. So on this issue of illegal migrants, actually ASU, Assam Students Union, had launched a movement, and then finally Assam Accord was signed in 1985, and it was agreed that NRC would be updated and illegal migrants would be deported as such. So this is an exercise which is going on under Supreme Court supervision. So it is actually targeting Bangladeshi migrants in India. So here you can see. So in 2010, Registrar General of India notified a pilot project of updating the NRC, but then there were protests. In 2014, Supreme Court asked the government to update NRC in a time-bound manner and publish a draft by Jan 2016, which was later extended to December 2017, and the first draft has been published. So this is all about NRC again provided here. that why has it been updated? Basically to identify Bangladeshi infiltrators. And the process, as you can see here, the process is, this is the deadline. So those who came after this date, March 23, 1971, so up to the midnight of March 24. So those who were in Assam are considered as, whose names are also there on the electoral rolls, are considered as Assam citizens. Others are considered as illegal migrants. So that's the idea. So here you can see there are 12 set of citizenship documents such as passport, LIC policy, birth certificate, college university certificate, etc., which can be provided as a proof for ensuring that their name is included in NRC. So Assam government is conducting this exercise of updating the National Register of Citizens of Assam. So here there are some issues also related to this, because genuine Indian citizens from other parts of the country who have settled down or are living in Assam after 1971 are also being affected because of this. So many tea plantation workers and their descendants are affected because of this exercise. Then this is regarding some controversies with respect to NRC. So many question the validity of 1951 NRC also, since it was an incomplete exercise, the 1951 census as such. People complain that government has not made available all electoral rolls up to 1971 in all districts, and government says they have provided whatever is available. Then there are these doubtful voters. So they will have to have their names cleared by the foreigners tribunals. So this is also a concern, that those who have been called as doubtful voters. So this is an issue. Then another complaint is that the discrepancy in the names in different government documents. So that also results in people being excluded from NRC update. And there are concerns regarding indigenous tribes too, who may not have any pre-1971 document to prove their identity, but they have been original inhabitants of Assam. So their names being included in this NRC is also essential. So these are some of the controversies related to the exercise too. Then next is UGC autonomy notice sparks fear of fee hikes. So yesterday we had discussed how UGC has now announced through a notification in February that higher educational institutions with good NARC scores, accreditation scores, they can actually get autonomy. So here actually teachers associations have criticized this move, saying that the government is offering more autonomy to around 60 quality higher educational institutions. But then this is a way for fee hikes actually. So they are given freedom to open institutions like, schools, centers, off-campus centers, skill courses, incubation centers, research parks without the approval from UGC. So this means that commercialization and privatization of public education will take place with differential fee structures. So this will compromise the question of equity and access, which are the founding principles for public higher educational institutions like JNU, which is the topmost institution in ranking as such. So this is the allegation being made by various teachers associations, that because it is said that they should generate funds on their own. So they have given this autonomy, UGC gives autonomy provided they generate their own funds and not depend on the government. So means fees would be hiked is the idea. Then next is indigenous technology tested on BrahMos. So BrahMos, which is a supersonic cruise missile jointly developed by India and Russia. So it is named as BrahMos based on the two rivers from the two countries, Brahmaputra and Moskova. So this is a supersonic cruise missile. Supersonic means its speed is more than the speed of sound. Supersonic. Subsonic means speed less than the speed of sound. So supersonic cruise missile. Cruise missile basically is, otherwise we hear of ballistic missiles. So ballistic missiles are not guided missiles. They follow the natural trajectory. Means they are fired off and following the natural trajectory, they will land on the target. So that is a ballistic missile. And a guided missile which is low flying is called a cruise missile. So BrahMos is a supersonic cruise missile which has been jointly developed by India and Russia. And now the news is that an indigenous seeker has been used in the BrahMos missile, and it has been successfully test fired for the first time at Pokhran test range in Rajasthan in India. So this is the development. So seeker is a critical technology in missiles. So far it has come from Russia, but now an indigenous seeker has been developed by India by the Defense Research and Development Laboratory of Hyderabad and BrahMos Aerospace jointly. So this seeker technology determines the accuracy of the missile. So it's a closely guarded secret as such, and mastering this technology is a significant milestone in missile technology for India and reducing its import dependence. So this is the news. So BrahMos as such can be launched from land, from sea, from subsea, means submarine launched, even from air. And it can attack targets on surface and even on sea. So this is the supersonic cruise missile BrahMos. Its initial range was of 290 kilometers, but then after India became member of MTCR, Missile Technology Control Regime, the range has been extended to 450 kilometers too, and plan is to have a range of 600 kilometers for BrahMos as such. So here you can see the details are given. So it was originally having 290 kilometer range. Supersonic means max speed of 2.8 is its speed. 2.8 times the speed of sound. It has fire and forget principle of operation. So this is there. So it has been inducted into the Army, Navy and Air Force as such to India, in India, and it is also jointly exported. Plans are to even export it jointly. India and Russia can have this BrahMos missile sold to friendly third world countries by mutual consent. Even India is looking forward to exporting BrahMos to countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, Philippines, etc. So here you can see the Army, Navy and Air Force version of BrahMos being shown here. So it has been inducted in Navy in 2006, in Army in 2007, even a submarine variant came in 2013, and even for the Air Force it has been successfully test fired. Then next is, this is regarding the subsonic cruise missile of India, that is named Nirbhay. So just a link and an addition. Nirbhay is the subsonic cruise missile of India, which can deliver conventional as well as nuclear weapons. So it has a range of about 1000 kilometers. And this is regarding MTCR, Missile Technology Control Regime. So in 2016, India became the 35th member of MTCR. So this is regarding that. So India has not been able to become member of NSG Nuclear Suppliers Group, but then in MTCR it got its membership the earliest as such. Even Wassenaar Arrangement and Australia Group have been joined. We have been discussing that in news. These are four prominent technology regimes, export regimes of these high-end technologies which are important for defense and critical strategic significance, like nuclear technology, defense technology. So this missile technology control regime actually restricts proliferation of missiles. So any missile which is capable of carrying a 500 kg payload for at least 300 kilometers. So this would not be allowed to be sold to third countries as such. There are restrictions. So that is why Russia could not work together with India for any technology of a missile of 300 kilometer range or above. That's why BrahMos was having 290 kilometer range. But now since India has become a member of MTCR, we can extend the range of BrahMos. Then next is, in 4 years, CSIR earned 1,908 crores. So CSIR, Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, which has around 38 labs in the country. So it's the largest chain of laboratories in India. So in the past 4 years, it is said it has earned 1,908 crores, which is just 12% of its budgetary outlay of 16,000 crores over the same period. So we had earlier in 2017 seen that Director General of CSIR had told its research laboratories that they have to develop funds for themselves, because there was only rupees 360 crore left for funding new research with CSIR. So now it is said that it would earn more based on the recent developments too. It says that mostly from licensing its technology and its consultancy services, funding can come forth. So it gets around 764 crores through this, providing these services. So there's an expectation. The CSIR Director General says that it is expected in the future years we'll be able to generate funds on our own, then we'll not face such a crisis. So this is the claim being made as such. Then next is Global lawmakers meet on Tibet called off. So there was this 7th World Parliamentarians Convention on Tibet, which was scheduled for April 2018, but now it has been cancelled. It was scheduled in Delhi. So this actually has been linked to China's sensitivities. So because there are high profile meetings which will take place between Indian and Chinese leadership in the coming months. So that is why this Parliamentarians Convention on Tibet has been cancelled. So the last convention took place in 2012 in Canada, where more than 50 parliamentarians from 30 countries had attended the convention. So your parliamentarians from even self-styled Tibetan Parliament in Exile also participate in this, which is not to the liking of China. So this is there. Here you can see the details are given. So developments were taking place to hold this convention, but now it has been indefinitely delayed. So this is the detail you can see here regarding developments which took place over last few days, but now it's not going to take place. Then next is dubious journals abound study. So this is a study which has been done of UGC approved list of journals. So University Grants Commission gives a list of journals which are approved by it. This white list, it has those journals which are considered as not predatory and authentic. But then there is a study which has been done on these journals which shows that huge number of the journals on this whitelist are predatory journals, dubious or predatory journals, which publish substandard papers for a small fee and have very little peer reviewing done, if at all. So this out of 1009 journals which were part of this whitelist as such approved by UGC, 88% of them were seen to be predatory. So this is the study and the results coming forth. Only out of these 1009, 112 journals met the criteria set by UGC to be included in the list. So these were journals from various streams like science, arts, humanities, and social science. So this is a huge concern for scientific research in the country. So there is a need to have verifiable postal address, email address of chief editors on the website. So this one particular condition was also not satisfied by many journals in the whitelist. Then another requirement was that there should be a ISSN number, which they should have, international standard serial number. So these were also incorrect for many journals. There were poor credentials of editors of various journals. So these were the points which have been raised. Even scrutiny regarding the names of journals, because many journals call themselves international and global. So such misleading titles of journals also was a concern. So such journals are included in the whitelist, has been highlighted, and it is said that one of the professors included in this study said that the UGC should actually not maintain a whitelist. It is not equipped to do it efficiently. So it should instead issue advisories on the quality of research publications only. So this is coming forth. Here you can see. This is at least earlier studies also which have shown that many journals in UGC list could be predatory. They are not authentic. Then next is Trump orders curbs on Chinese goods investments. So President Donald Trump of USA has directed imposition of tariffs on Chinese products and also restrict Chinese investments in America. So this he has said because there was a special assessment done of Chinese trade and investment practices in USA, and it was seen that Chinese companies are getting unfair advantage and US companies are forced to transfer technologies to USA. So actually USTR, US Trade Representative, conducted a review under Section 301 of Trade Act of USA, and this was on the order of President Trump. So here now US President has said that USTR has to erect a tariff wall for Chinese products in the country. So this is a direction given now. So this will take place. Plus also on the investments, the Treasury Department has been directed to devise restrictions on Chinese investments in America. Because it is said that Chinese investments are done in such a way that they are trying to take over American technologies for military and strategic purposes. So as China has officially also announced that it wants to become a technology giant, technology superpower, and also USA has declared China as a strategic competitor. So now on these lines, these steps are being taken. So China, you can see, has declared it wants to become a technology superpower by 2025. So this will be harmful for USA, is what US President Donald Trump claims. He says that even after becoming member of WTO, World Trade Organization, joining free trade in 2001, China became a member of WTO in 2001. So post that, Chinese economy has grown 800% and US economy has slowed down. So of course, it was a developing country, so growth potential was there. US economy has slowed down, is true. So that's why hard measures are required. Even Chinese retaliation and trade war may take place, but the president is emphasizing that there is a need to take action presently. We have to strategically defend America against economic aggression. It is that investments are done by Chinese companies in America not for better returns on investments, but to serve China's strategic and military objectives. So they're taking over technologies from USA is being claimed. So that's why such steps are required and the action is being justified now. Then next is Maldives president lifts state of emergency. So Maldives, we have been seeing that it was in a state of emergency since Feb 2018. So on Feb 5, emergency was declared for 15 days and then extended for 30 more days. And the whole crisis emerged when the President Yamin actually imposed this emergency when the Supreme Court declared that those legislators who had been disqualified, they were reinstated. So this, you can see, this resulted in the government losing its majority in the legislature, because of which the president imposed emergency. So this conviction against 9 opposition leaders was overturned. So this included even the exiled former president Mohammad Nasheed. So this Supreme Court ruling had resulted in the controversy, and that's why the parliament was also suspended. Emergency was declared, and even the Supreme Court judge as such was arrested too, and other Supreme Court judges then overturned the earlier Supreme Court ruling. So again the convictions were reinstated. So then the emergency as such also has now been lifted after 45 days. This is the case. You can see the present president, Mr. Yamin, has also stripped parliament of its power to impeach him. So these are the developments which took place here in Maldives, which is very close to India. It's a neighbor across the Indian Ocean here. Lakshadweep lies here, and just below Lakshadweep we have Maldives, the archipelago, island nation. Then next is Pakistan gets powerful missile tracking system from China. So China is said to have sold Pakistan a powerful tracking system which could be used in development of multi-warhead missiles by Pakistan. So this highly sophisticated optical tracking and measurement system has been said to be given by China to Pakistan in response to even India successfully test firing its intercontinental ballistic missile ICBM Agni 5. So this has a range long enough to even hit Beijing or Shanghai. So that's why it is said Pakistan is now being further militarily equipped by China. So this is there. You should know about Agni 5 too. So this is the ICBM. Its range is around 5,000 kilometers, which can cover this whole region. It was successfully test fired from Wheeler Island in Odisha. So the other series in the series Agni 1, 2, 3 and 4 too. Range of around 700 to 1,500, 3,000 and even 4,000. Agni 4 is also there. Then next is Centre drops plan to increase levy on import of wheat. So Centre was planning to impose an import duty of 40% on wheat. But now it has been, it is coming in forth that this wheat import being doubled to 40% will not take place, because it is said that India's wheat requirement is of around 100 million tons and the wheat production in the country is being forecast at around 97.11 million tons. So there will be a shortfall and there will be a need for wheat import in the country. Wheat demand in India is rising. India is said to be the world's second largest producer and consumer of wheat. And wheat is grown in the country only once in a year. Planting takes place, a Rabi crop, so planting takes place in October and harvests in March. So The consumption also in the country is rising at 1 to 1.5% per year. So that is why now wheat import tax may not be increased, may not be doubled to 40% as such is being indicated. And the last news item is Indian commodity bourses are trendsetter role. So this is regarding Indian commodity exchanges. So the Indian Commodity Exchange Limited in 2017 had offered futures contract in diamonds. So what is this commodity exchange and what are these commodity derivatives? We'll see. So diamonds trading, commodity trading in diamonds had been announced in 2017, which was for the first time that any commodity exchange in the world is providing such commodities for trading. And also Multi-Commodity Exchange of India, MCX, has now announced that it will be offering brass contracts. Means brass as a commodity can be exchanged as such. So MCX is also the largest commodity exchange in the country in terms of market share. So here they have taken an initiative as such in commodity exchanges across the globe. And these are regulated exchanges. So OTC market actually, it does not typically offer transparency, trade guarantee, quality assurance as such, but regulated exchanges do. So what is the difference between OTC market and an exchange as such? We'll see that. So OTC means over the counter. So over the counter means there is no centralized place where trade is taking place. Trade takes place amongst different entities. So market is made up of all participants in the market trading amongst themselves. So that is OTC. Example is Forex, foreign exchange. So one is selling, the other is buying. So that is, there is no centralization. And exchange traded markets means like stocks traded. So that is through a stock exchange. So there is no direct contact between seller and buyer, but through the exchanges that it takes place, only through the exchanges. So this is called exchange traded market. So this brings in transparency as such too, and better idea about prices too. Then this is regarding commodity derivatives. So commodity derivative basically means that it's like when when you buy a stock or a share of a particular company. So you're buying a stake in that company. But when commodity derivative is a derivative contract in which you are buying or selling this commodity, not the commodity itself per se, but only the contract. So the value is based on the value of the underlying commodity. So if it's a diamond commodity derivative, then value will vary as the diamond's prices vary. And if it is a brass commodity derivative, it is based on brass. So that's the idea. So derivative contracts can have an underlying asset as commodity, which can be any precious metal, other metals, even agricultural product or energy product. So these are called commodity derivatives. So there is commodity derivatives exchanges in the country too. And also for them, the regulator was Forwards Markets Commission. But now the Forwards Markets Commission has been merged with SEBI, Securities and Exchange Board of India. So even commodity derivatives are being regulated by SEBI only now. So even new novel products can come forth because of this merger too of the regulator. So like it is expected that even mutual funds would be allowed to trade in commodity market. So SEBI is looking into this, whether it should allow mutual funds to trade in commodities markets. So this is the future developments which may take place, which are listed here. So these are the news items. Thank you.